I used to hate strength training. If I was going to be active, I wanted to be out running or walking or doing something outside. The thought of lifting weights, or worse, doing crunches or planks, sounded hard and boring. Plus, I didn't really like going to a smelly gym, and I certainly was not motivated to do the exercises at home. So I did nothing. And then I got injured. I pulled my hamstring while jogging. And for 3 years, I fought with that pain. I knew that weight training would likely help me. But like I said, I hated weight training. The cons just outweighed the pros. Until one day, a colleague of mine, a distance runner, shared how he had healed a running injury through strength training. And something clicked. I got my butt into the gym, and it wasn't so bad. I hired a personal trainer, and I went through physical therapy, and I started stretching, and I did yoga. And as a result, I healed my hamstring, and I even lost some weight. And surprisingly, I was less sore when I woke up in the morning, and I just felt overall stronger and more confident. Movement is one of the most important areas of our lives, especially as we move into this next chapter. And my guest today is Dr. Kari Horn, a chiropractor, a coach, and a movement expert. And she teaches all sorts of exercise classes, including Tai Chi. In our conversation, she shines a spotlight on the importance of strength training and balance training and staying active as we age gracefully. So join me for my conversation with Dr. Kari Horn. Welcome to Retire Your Limits, the podcast for women who are ready to rewrite the rule books and redefine what it means to retire. I'm your host, Gayla Beyer, nurse practitioner turned wellness coach for retiring women. Planning this next chapter of our lives can be overwhelming. At least I know it was for me. This podcast is about putting you first, challenging the norms, and unlocking what's possible for you as you step into this new era of retirement. So, ready to retire your limits? Let's dive in. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Gayla. So good to see you. Thank you for having me on today. I appreciate it. I love talking health stuff.
Well, I'm really excited to explore the trends that you're seeing as far as movement goes and health.
Oh, absolutely. Favorite topics right there.
Awesome. Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a chiropractor here in the Midwest. I work in the St. Louis area, and I grew up in the same area, played a lot of sports, went to school for biochemistry, and I got tired of working in a lab, and I wanted to see, I think, more people. I just needed that connection. And so I ended up going to chiropractic college and got my degree way back in 1997. From then, I've just kind of added on some things. I'm a fitness trainer. I am also a certified women's health coach, and I work in gyms along with my private practice, doing different things like functional nutrition and the chiropractic, acupuncture, and fitness training. I also do classes ranging from yoga to Tai Chi to spinning to boot camp style classes, anything and everything that can have movement. And I have students that have ranged from, teenagers all the way up through, we had an 87-year-old woman in one of the boot camp classes, and she could just rock it. So
I love
it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of different things.
Yeah. So much of what your focus has been on is on movement and how movement affects our health.
Absolutely. I am a key of you move it or you lose it.
Yeah. Tell about the trends that you're seeing in movement and health.
I feel like people want to get out. People have decided that they needed to do something about their health. They realize the risks that were involved with being more sedentary. And from that, I think you're just seeing people wanting to get out and move and find ways to get themselves in a healthier place. And especially as we age, because we knew that was a very big risk factor, as we've got to be healthier as we're aging, we have to pay attention to those risk factors that we have and develop a plan to kind of continue on and stay as active as we can for as long as we can.
Yes, I agree. So many women had a wake-up call with the pandemic, just realizing we really can't take our health for granted. And the healthier we are, the more likely we are to be resilient. And so, I agree that that's what I'm seeing too, is a lot more women are interested in moving their bodies and, taking advantage of the health benefits of that. The other thing I think is that we're living longer, right? Women are living longer. And we want to be able to move, not be limited by immobility due to chronic pain problems, and to stay as independent as possible for as long as possible. And so that is another motivating factor, I think, for women who are interested in moving. And then just to be able to experience their retirement without being afraid that they're going to fall, break something, hurt themselves. So I agree. Movement is critically important. So tell me about the types of exercise that women who are postmenopausal and moving into this next chapter of their lives. Tell me about the types of exercise that you recommend for these women.
Oh, absolutely. That's my jam right there. I recommend a variety of exercise, and that's because each piece has a part to play in how we move and how we're going to be able to adapt in that movement. So one of the biggest ones that I think women kind of have shied away from over the years has been strength training. That is probably my number one, is wherever you're at, and you may be starting strength training with body weight exercises, but wherever you're at, to start strength training, because that is so important in our health. As we age, as we lose those lovely hormones that we had from our youth, we lose other things too with that. It affects our cardiovascular system. It affects our blood sugar handling. It'll affect our bone health, and it'll affect our strength. And so all those factors play a part in your aging. And if you want to stay healthier longer, strength training is key. Build that muscle in order to help with every one of those things. Muscle is going to help you with your blood sugar balance. Muscle is going to help you with maintaining good bone mass. Muscle and strength training is going to also help with your cardiovascular system, and then balance and being able to recover from a fall. If you do, God forbid, fall, you'll be able to recover faster. The more muscle mass you have on those bones, it's protective, and it allows you to not necessarily bounce like we did when we were kids, but recover quicker. So that's my number one.
I think it's interesting. If you ask most women, what is the most important exercise for your heart health or for your blood sugar control? Most people are going to say getting out and walking or doing some sort of cardiovascular exercise. And I think it's a little bit of a surprise that strength training is actually one of the most important things that we can do for our cardiovascular health, for maintaining our blood sugar, maintaining our weight as we get older, and just every body system, to be honest, can benefit from strength training.
Absolutely. Not to shy away from, some good walking, because I agree that we do need to move our bodies and our joints and slightly elevate that heart rate in order to get the cardiovascular benefits from that. But strength training needs to be a big piece of that puzzle also. On top of those two things, then I would also recommend something for balance training. So whether that is just doing balance exercises or yoga types of exercises, which will incorporate the flexibility and the balance in there and strength. So you get kind of like 3 in 1 on that one. But to add that balance component will help reduce the risk of falls. So fall prevention is a big thing for me. In the groups that I work with, most of them are older adults with my fitness training now. And I want to make sure that they are safe. And when they go to move in the Midwest, we get lousy weather in the winter and we get a lot of ice here. So I want to make sure that they understand how to move and how they can strengthen themselves and prepare themselves in the event of encountering situations where they could fall like that. So balance exercises are very important. That would be a big key. In fact, the CDC recommends that we do at least like 3 days a week of balance training of some kind. And that could be as simple as like standing in line at the grocery store and you're working on a single leg balance while you're there. You got the cart in front of you, you can touch, right? And then if you need it or if you don't need it, you're just working harder on doing a single leg balance. And so balance is big. I think the statistic right now for the United States is 1 in 4 individuals 65 and up will fall and they will have an injury that's going to take them out for at least a day.
It's so funny that you were talking about this right now as I am recovering from a fall that I had 2 days ago or 3 days ago while I was hiking and walking on a trail and looking off at the expansive ocean view and not watching where my feet are going and tripped on a root and end up injuring myself. But if I hadn't been practicing some strength training and some balance training, I could have gotten hurt a lot worse than I did.
Absolutely.
When we think about falling, so many of us just think about as we're older, falling and breaking a hip or something and, becoming immobile. But if we're going to be active and we're going to be hiking and biking and even going for walks in the neighborhood where there's uneven sidewalks, there is the chance that we are going to have a fall. And so doing everything that we can to protect our joints is just so important. So, if we do fall, and like you said, there's a chance that we will, we'll be able to be resilient and not injure ourselves to the point where we're breaking something.
Right. Absolutely. You want that faster recovery time. And as we get older, we know that it's more difficult to recover. Our bones don't heal as fast. Our muscles and tendons and ligaments do not recover as quickly. It takes more time. It takes good nutrition to make all that tissue return to a state that we can basically use it the way we want to again. It takes time. So to prevent all that from happening in the first place, that is key.
Yes. So why do you think more women are not doing strength training and balance training?
I think maybe they don't realize the benefits. I think in the past, we've had told to do their cardio and it was nothing but step classes for everyone. And we shied away from that. And I think as research comes out more on women, you're going to see that, that change in thought process, how important this can be. But as time's going on, we're starting to get more and more research come out. And I think it's very exciting with what we're seeing now compared to even, 10, 15 years ago. Hey, women need to strength train. We're built to be, strong and put on a little bit of muscle. We will never look like a man putting on muscle. It just doesn't happen without different hormones. And, so you can assure yourself that it's going to change you like that. You're going to put on muscle in places that you need it for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the pieces. It's been kind of that stigma of you need to just do cardio. And now we're starting to see the shift. And I think we're still out because, research, sometimes it takes 10 years before the public kind of gets its hands on it. But we're seeing that shift begin and more individuals promoting getting strength early is even better. I mean, if you can get your daughter doing it, pack on that muscle when you have hormones to be able to pack it on easier and get that bone mass up early, much better results. That's going to help carry you through life. But there's there's nothing that says that you can't do some as you get older, and you still see changes and increases in bone density and muscle as we get older, even into our 60s, 70s, even 80-year-olds, you can still make some changes. It's going to take a little dedication, but you'll see the changes.
I agree. And also, I think women don't want to go to the gym. And I think, during the pandemic, there was a real surge of online workout programs where you can do your workouts at home. And I think a lot of women were taking advantage of that. But now I'm kind of noticing that women are a little sick of that. So I think that those are all contributing factors, is that women don't really want to go to the gym. It's not as much fun to do strength training at home by yourself. And the other piece is they don't necessarily know what to do. Do I use weights? Do I use bands? Do I have to bench press all this weight? So they don't, sometimes they just don't know what to do.
Right. Absolutely. And there are trainers that do work online, and we will help you with form. If you're completely like a new individual to weight training, then I would suggest making sure you have a trainer that can look at your form and any limitations you may have and develop a program that's more specified for you and your body. If you do not have that kind of an option and you wish to go to a gym, then the safer bet is actually to put yourself into the machines for exercising than doing free weights, because the machine helps kind of stabilize those other body parts and isolate out what you need to be moving versus other areas that might not be as stable and might not allow you to have better form. So that may be an easier bet to utilize machinery in a gym if you're completely new also. But there are so many options. Right. And there are a simple, like I can put together a little thing for you, Gayla, that is just things to have in a home gym. And they include things like therapy ball, big giant therapy ball. You could have just a couple of hand weights or some bands and a mat or something that you can lay on. But you can have a great workout with just that. You can have workouts with just body weight.
I'm glad you brought that up. You don't necessarily even have to have weights or resistant bands. There's a lot of things that we can do just with our own body weight to get started. And I also agree with you, Carrie, that it's really helpful to hire a trainer, especially just in the beginning. Even if it's just a little beginning packet that gives you a few training sessions to be able to get a circuit together or get a routine together to learn how to do the exercises properly, what weights to start with, how many reps should we do, get all of that kind of set. That's just really helpful place to start.
It'll give you confidence, and it'll also be a buddy that will be there. And you could do group training. Oh my gosh, There's group training. If you have a friend that you can talk into to go to the gym with you, that's golden, right? Then you're there for each other, and you're like, kind of work together and get yourself up in the morning or after work or in the evening. You have a commitment to be there.
Yes. And there are silver sneaker programs for women who are on Medicare. And that's kind of a great way to have community. As you're working out, you see these people over and over, you start conversations, you go out for coffee after. There's a lot of opportunities to build community around the gym.
Yes, absolutely. That's what my balance classes and my Tai Chi classes usually end up doing.
Tell us a little bit about Tai Chi. Tell us a little bit about Tai Chi. Why is it good for us postmenopausal women? And what are our options?
That's a good question. Tai Chi is a wonderful form of exercise that we can incorporate into our routines. And there are many styles. It was all originated as a practice for martial arts. And it's developed over many centuries into an exercise practice that can be either very explosive and more military style type of exercise to just the more graceful, smooth movement that you can envision when you see images of people performing Tai Chi. So there are different styles. Some of the styles that I've done some work with are Chen style, Yang style or Sun style. And currently I do a practice with a modified Sun style, which is slow, very slow moving, not a lot of explosive types of movements, not a lot of movement that would be adverse for someone that has joint issues in their knees or their hips or their shoulders. It's designed for those that need a more gentle type of Tai Chi. And it's a wonderful type of practice. And you can do this as a young person. You can do this as an older person. If you have limitations and you needed to be seated, it can be done even seated. So there's so much to Tai Chi. So one of the things that I like to talk about in my Tai Chi classes would be to slow down. Most of us, when we're creating that movement in Tai Chi, they're too quick and we need to slow them down. And if you've ever tried to move your arms very slowly or move your body and your legs very slowly walking, you know that it takes coordination and balance and some strength to be able to do that. And doing this over a half hour, 45-minute session actually becomes quite a workout that you are incorporating all this slow motion, but it's being held over time. Tai Chi is continuous movement. It's a flow. So it's a little different from, per se, yoga, where you pause maybe in some of those movements and you're holding the pose and balancing and breathing and doing deep internal work there. Tai Chi is a little different. We're constantly moving. And while we're doing the internal work with our own styles of breathing, the movement doesn't ever end. It's continuous. So with Sun style, we'll see very gentle resistance that we're incorporating into our movement. So if you can think of trying to move your body through a vat of honey, it's sticky, it's thick, and it's going to be a little bit tougher to move through than per se water. So that continuous movement, slow flow, gentle resistance on the body. When you're moving your body and you're transferring your weight, that's all about balance. One of the things I like to do as an exercise for my students, we pretend to be ninjas in the class. And we actually move extremely slow. And I'll call out pause. And whatever step that they're in the middle of, you might have a foot off the ground. You might have a toe off the ground. You might be just touching a heel here or there. You have to stop and hold that point. So it's a little balance trick that we do with it. But that type of movement helps you become aware of where your feet are and where your body is over those feet. So it's very good for that fall prevention that we talked about earlier.
Yes. Yeah, just maintaining that posture and knowing where we are in space and then the strength of the resistance of holding a pose. Because there's resistance for that if you're moving forward. Wow, that's so cool. So when I'm out in the park and I'm seeing someone practicing Tai Chi in the park, what type of Tai Chi are they doing?
It depends. I've seen multiple styles there. Yang style is pretty popular, so that you could see some Yang style there, and then you could also see Sun style. And then there's the Chang style too, if you're seeing a little bit more forceful movement. So it really varies.
Yeah. Do you favor one in particular for postmenopausal women?
I'd say it depends on you and what your goals are and what you want to accomplish. But definitely the Sun style and the modified Sun style is what I would consider a very safe form of Tai Chi for those, again, that might be starting to deal with more joint issues or balance and coordination issues as we get older and we haven't practiced those things as much. So I think that's a safe bet.
I understand how the Tai Chi movements can help physically by proprioception, knowing where we are in space, balance. Tell me how these practices can help us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as we practice these.
So Tai Chi is wonderful for connecting yourself to your movements and the breathing that goes with each Tai Chi movement. And so sometimes we'll get into so much of keeping the breath in that movement that you'll forget what on earth you were actually doing in your movement. And Tai Chi is like a house. You build a foundation And then you continue to add layer upon layer to that foundation. And as you build that, it becomes an entire like self-awareness type of activity. It's more almost like a meditative type of movement that you're so focused with what you are doing. It's very deeply seated in that mind-body connection.
It's kind of a forced presence because you have to be focused on exactly this moment and what you're doing, and you really can't be distracted.
You do. And again, it's a process. First, you learn those movements, and then you'll learn how to apply some of those principles we talked about earlier, that slowness, the little gentle resistance into your movement, the energy that you'll bring into that, the breathing. All of those pieces are layer upon layer. And sometimes when you add that layer in, you lose some of the other layers and then you bring it back as part of your practice. One of the sayings that one of my mentors has always said is, it takes you 100 times to learn the movement, really, to learn that move, the movement of the move, to how to do it. And then it'll take 1,000 times doing it to get comfortable and to really start to see you develop that movement more and get all of those pieces starting to flow together. And when you're comfortable, it'll be 10,000 times that you've done that movement. So it's layer upon layer, and it's a wonderful, absolutely wonderful workout. I love it. You'll be so surprised when you're finished that you think that I'm just doing this slow movement the whole time. But once you start to add those layers in, you get done with your Tai Chi and you are just relaxed, you're grounded, and you might be a little tired because you did do some work.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So for somebody who is listening to this and might feel a little bit overwhelmed by just the layering and how to kind of get started on this, what is a kind of a low key way to dip your toe in the Tai Chi pool?
Sometimes you will find courses at gyms or through older adult education programs in your area that might offer Tai Chi classes. And you could do a Tai Chi class, and they will start at the beginning. And local gyms and city community centers have Tai Chi as an offering too to begin. So those are easy ways. Just even going online and Googling simple Tai Chi videos. One of the programs that I've taught for years was Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention. And you can Google Tai Chi for arthritis and find programs that you can do, either paid programs, but you might find some free, simple tutorials on starting, and they'll work you through those tutorials. Easy way to get started. I absolutely love it. I think it encompasses strength. It encompasses that mindfulness, balance, and continuous movement. So it's a good package, I think, for women as we get older. It's a nice piece to add in. And some of the routines, once you get to doing them, might be 8-minute routines. So it doesn't take long. It could be that little piece in your day that you could begin your day with.
Yeah. So tell me about, for women who are now interested, what's the best way to start?
That's a good question. And I'm going to say it's going to be dependent upon the individual. Everyone has a beginning of that journey. To compare yourself to someone else who is maybe at a different place in their journey, it's just not conducive for any type of good self. I don't even know what to say. It's good self movement towards your own path. So I'd like everybody to begin where they begin. Know that's your journey. And then that's what you're working towards. You're moving from that point. You're always moving forward. Move forward for as long as we can.
I love that. And not comparing yourself to somebody else, just really focusing on your own path. And I believe that most women will notice a difference in the way they feel throughout the day if they do this. Not only are you getting these health benefits, but you can certainly see how you feel when you get out of bed in the morning and how you move through the day and how you catch yourself when you're going to fall and how you carry things easier.
Absolutely.
So any last thoughts, Carrie?
Just take a look at where you're at. currently and what your goals are going to be. Where are you happy with where you're currently at physically? How do you feel? Do you feel that's going to carry you through the next 20, 30 years or so? And my goal has always been to stay as mobile and as active as I can for as long as I can until it is my time to be done here on this earth. I would like to be independent for as long as possible. I feel that doing this strength training, the flexibility work, the breathing mindfulness types of activities, the balance and control types of activities, those are all big pieces that can help get me to that goal of being independent for as long as possible, taking care of myself. As women, we many times just take care of everyone else and all the things, and taking a little bit of time to reflect on yourself and understand that you need care too to be able to reach your goals, and making time for that care, to making time for those activities is a big piece. And start somewhere. You don't have to do it all. Just start somewhere.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, this was really great, Carrie. It was informative to learn from you about movement in postmenopausal women as we transition into this next chapter of our lives. Tell us where we can find out more about you and what you're up to.
Well, in private practice here in Missouri. And then I also have my wellness coaching business on the side, and that is Living Up Wellness Coaching. And you can get a hold of me, shoot me any questions that you want at Carrie@livingupwellnesscoaching.com.
Great. And I'll have that information in the show notes below. Well, thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Important topics. Important, I think. So, bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining me for the conversation with Kari Horn. I'm curious, did the conversation change your thoughts about movement and strength training and balance training? If so, leave me a comment. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.